and I'm part of the Booker Theater program. Annie and Blake came in this year to do the O Solo Me O project with my class. The project is a 10-minute play about our life or whatever we'd want to share with the community. The project started out with them giving us little prompts to kind of like work on what we'd want to write and just giving us ideas. And then we started solo play writing for about like four months, maybe a little bit more. Um, and I can truly say the project was life-changing for me and my whole class. Going into the program and hearing that I'd have to perform a solo play was scary, but in a good way. It was just amazing. With Annie and Blake's whole support, they got my class through and they got me through it. And I truly think my whole entire class will be in debt forever through their support with this project. And all in all, love the solo plays.
Oh,
that's Claire Timney.
Yeah.
One of our juniors from O Solo Mio this year. Thank you, Claire.
She is going to go far.
Yeah.
I think she's going to join us this summer for the Solo, which is a program, part of our programming that's looks at adults and professionals who want to continue on. But I think Claire is perfect for it. So she's excited to be joining us. Yeah.
And hopefully you'll hear about all of that in all of our programming all for the next 3 hours, because we're going to be talking about it. Claire, thank you, Claire. That's a beautiful testimonial, because we can say all we want to, but having someone from our actual junior class is priceless. Welcome.
This is really wonderful for us. You know, Blake and I were talking about that we've ended doing festivals. That doesn't mean that we're done. It just means that instead of gathering several people to do a whole weekend or 2 weekends or a week of solo performances, it's time for us to focus what we've always wanted to do, which is in development. And when someone is ready, then we can present that person. So that's really what we're about now.
We've already started several programs. About 5 years ago, we started our solo synergy programs in the schools, in both Booker Middle School and Booker High School. So we started, we've already got our template together.
I think we've got it. We've been listening to a couple of the schools that, hey, we're new. We would like to have you come in, which would be just fantastic.
Right. And all the donations that come in today and tomorrow, out of all of them, about 80% go directly to those programs.
Yeah.
So it's really important for you.
And we're excited because we really love what we do. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the Bridge, shall we?
Yes,
the Bridge is a program that we take into the middle school, and it's really kind of profound. It started at several with the idea of having a teen, a 12 or 13-year-old, talk to a 60-plus adult, and vice versa. They interview each other, and they go off, and the teen must write a monologue about as if they were the 60-plus adult, and the 60-plus adult can do the exact same thing.
And then they perform it as the other. We went in thinking this was a really good idea, and what we found out it is more than that. It's actually kind of a wonderful thing. So look at a little bit of this. This shows you a little bit of our first year.
Right. It was our very first year with Carrie Mills at Booker Middle School. And it's her intermediate class that she uses, which is really kind of lovely. They've had a little bit of acting already, and they're now at a point where they want to take a next step. And this is good for them to have to write a monologue, but to have something to write about is so perfect to have a 60-plus adult person.
And what you're seeing right here is this is when they first meet and greet and start interviewing each other and getting to know each other. And some of them become friends later on.
Oh, absolutely. They mentor each other.
They do.
And not just the elder to the teen, but sometimes the teen helps to mentor our elder.
And it's one teen per elder. So, and one elder per teen, they stay as a couple.
And then they go off and they write. They have to write. It's fun as writing as a group because they can share share and hear and learn from each other how each other writes, because some don't think they're as good writers. Then we can have an elder come back in and they can mentor what it would be to perform.
That's great.
Right.
And this was our first performance at the Arts Center, SaraSolo.
It was a great collaboration to be
beautiful.
there. It was so beautiful. And we had a lot of adults and a lot of teens, so we needed a space where we could have them all up on stage with each other and supporting each other, and the audience really loved it. It was a divine evening.
Yeah, we did 2 evenings, and so most of them got 2 performances out of that. But look at these people.
just hilarious.
Because what they saw were they saw profound things, they saw fun things, they saw things about their teens that they'd never heard of before, they'd never known. Some of the adults were hearing their stories told back as teens, and vice versa. There's something about becoming someone else on stage that also is there's a bravery to that, but there's also it's brave making, because it's like doing a monologue written by someone else in a way.
Exactly. And they really get a sense of what it's like to have to perform in front of an audience, so that you start to develop your relationship with your audience member, which is really quite
we're finding that's a very, very vital part of all of our programming.
Right.
That finally it's very, very, very important thing to do all the exercises and the writing and the creating of the pieces. But the final performance is the walking of the tightrope, where you stand on one side. And by the time you're at the end,
let's let them talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just do that. I'm going to let them tell you about their experience.
And I stayed in longer, so I learned more. It wasn't that much, but still. I was 5. I started. Hi, I'm Jackson Carney. I'm so happy to be part of this project called Gen to Gen. When I first heard that we were doing this, it kind of like widened my brain, and I thought of all the things that I could have my stories shared with everybody in Sarasota through the festival. I got so excited, and I was so happy that I got to write my own monologue based on the person that I was interviewing. Her name is Louise, and she is just so awesome. And this program has been such a joy so far, and I can't wait to write my monologue.
Jackson Carney, and I participated in the first ever SaraSolo project at Booker Middle. I was partnered with someone who was a professional in the field of theater, so it was really cool to get that experience from her. And it's definitely an experience that I will take with me for the rest of my life. And I really hope that, other kids can get that same experience as I did. One thing that was so special about it, especially for me, is that you really got to connect with a different generation that you wouldn't normally get to connect with. And I feel like sitting down for, the many days that we sat down and just talked to each other really opened my eyes to see that, there are so many different generations, and especially generations like us, the younger generation and the older generation, are often ignored, and our stories deserve to be told just like everyone else's. And that was very much highlighted by this experience. So yeah.
I want to live under a spotlight. I belong under a spotlight. When I am standing or sitting or kneeling or lying or laughing or even crying under a spotlight, well then I know I'm home. I'm where I belong. I'm on the stage and I'm acting. After high school, I'm going to New York to an acting college, and I'm going to study acting. You see, I want to go into the theater when I grow up. Speaking of growing up, I got to play Curly, one of the lost boys, in a production of Peter Pan when I was 9 years old. Remember that great song that has the line, "I won't grow up, I don't want to go to school, just to learn to be a parent and recite a silly rule"? When I was 5 years old, I went to a spring break camp where I played soccer and football and went swimming. I was terrible at sports. I hate sports, and I love theater. I played sports from age 4 to 6, but at age 7, I started auditioning for actual plays at the Venice Theater. So now you know the chronology of my early life. Let's review. From ages 4 to 6, I played sports, but at the magical age of 7, I found the theater, and at age 9, I found myself in Peter Pan. Oh, I have played other roles on stage too. I was Mr. Beaver in a production of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It was a medium-sized character. I had 42 lines. That's the show where they put a spotlight on me for the first time ever, and it was very special. One night a guy came up to me and told me that my monologue was fantastic. He said that me and another kid were the best parts of the whole show. I've done some other shows too. I was in My Son, Pinocchio Jr., and I was in Wiley and the Hairy Man. I was the understudy for Ralphie in A Christmas Story. I got to go on for 3 performances, 2 matinees and 1 evening. It was the best experience ever. You know, one of the reasons I started acting is because I was bullied a lot, and I needed theater to get away from the bullying. I can't think of a better way to ignore the bullies than to get on that stage and act. Have I told you that I love doing monologues? They are my favorite. I feel real joy just talking to you about acting and theater. Thank you very much for being a supportive audience. My closing thought is, I hope my joy for theater inspires you to always find your joy. Thank you. Oh, by the way, they call me Jackson.
My name's Anthony Corbedo. I'm in 7th grade, and I love this program. I got to work with an elder, shared a story with them. They made a fabulous monologue. They shared a story with me. I made a monologue about it. It was awesome. I loved how it turned out.
Oh, good. What would you tell somebody who doesn't know anything about this? Would you recommend any middle schooler who does it?
Yeah, I would recommend to do it. If they want to be like an actor when they grow up, like me, this is an opportunity for them to practice, because you won't always have a script to read off of. Sometimes you have to write your own and make your own blocking. And yes.
And how was that, writing your own monologue?
It was inspiring, because I've never done it before, but like write it and perform it. Also, it made me think about other things that I wouldn't normally think about if I was just reading off a normal script, you know?
Excellent. Did you learn anything about people who are a lot older than you that you didn't know before?
Partially. I learned, like, they're more wiser, most definitely, and they have a lot more to offer. Like, if you're just talking to, like, a millennial or, you know.
And did you and Laura have anything in common?
We both like martial arts. We're both loud, but we both talk very differently. She talks a lot slower than I do, has more of an accent.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Alright, so I walk up to the back door to go outside, and my babysitter surprises me with 2 fishing poles. And in my head, I just think of how many minnows I can just scoop up and eat for dinner. All my life I was living next to a fish fiesta and I didn't know it. The last thing my mom told me before she left was, don't fall into the lake. My babysitter said, like that'll never happen. So we're walking to the lake and I think back on what my mom and babysitter had said. Could I really fall into the lake? People don't fall into the lake on a regular basis, do they? Oh well. So we get to the lake and I put on some nice green sardine. We get to the lake and I'm baiting the hook. And I put on this nice green sardine. And if I'm going to be honest, I really wanted to eat it. Anyways, I reeled the hook into about a quarter or half into the lake. And keep in mind, this wasn't a very big lake. So a few times I'm reeling it in, I'm not getting any grabs on my hook. Nothing but a little activity in the water. Right before we just go back inside, I feel a little tug on my hook. I got to grab. As soon as the fish gets a hold of the hook, it instantly turns into a tug-of-war match. Me versus the fish. The tug-of-war battle continues for a few more minutes. I decide to stand up so I can get a better angle on it. But the fish just kept tugging me closer and closer to the edge of the bank. One last pulley sent me flying into the lake. Landed in the lake, got my pants soaking wet and full of mud. Got my brand new shoes drenched. Fortunately, a kind man was nice enough to help me up out of the water. And my babysitter was too busy screaming her head off. So I'm walking home and I feel my shoes squishing and squeaking. The back door opens. I see my mom's head peek out. She's mad. She sees my demolished wet pants, sneakers, and the horrific mud trail I've dragged in. That's when she snaps. What happened? You know what? I'm done with your foolishness. Get your butt in this house right now, and I mean now. You're grounded for a month. No more Ed Sullivan forever.
Opponent would be Ethan, his red hair blazing, swaggered up and stepped into the ring. He was at least a head taller than me. We sparred. He got a few punches in, but I did too. I prepared for my axe kick. I looked for the opportunity and then, yes, good kick, I thought to myself. I prepared for another kick. But I lost my balance. I saw Ethan's foot coming right for my chest. Oh! Good kick. He got the points. As I was recovering, I saw Ethan getting ready for a spinning heel kick, but I blocked it with my arms. But before I knew it, he was back again and kicked me in the chest again. That was the end of the match. I lost. I saw Ethan coming towards me, his hand outstretched to shake mine. Wow, he's a humble dude. We shook and said, no problem. I walked to the edge of the ring. I looked over the ledge for my mom. There she was. Our eyes locked on one another. She said, cool, honey. I was cool. I am cool. Yeah.
I don't write words. I write music. And when I first got involved in this, and I said, oh, am I going to have to interview a child, and the child's going to get something from me, and what am I going to get from the child? And I was impressed that she wasn't doing this, and that she could speak, and that she was intelligent and thoughtful, and a little edgy. and that really worked for me too. So I wrote, what we've been doing is reflecting on what we've gotten from the kids. So I wrote a jazz song that reflects what I got from Dakota. And the name of the tune is called Dakota. Oh, it works. The part that I found really cool was really the going to the rehearsal of the adults about a week ago and watching, taking in how much they had absorbed these children. All right? And I said to myself, well, that's not really a whole lot different from what you did. You just don't do it with words. I can't do anything with words. So, and my family reminds me of that on a regular basis.
So you wrote a music piece of music, didn't
Right.
you?
I wrote something that I felt under the somebody set me up and said, write a jazz tune. So I said, okay. So I wrote something that kind of sort of swings, but mostly reflects and tries to capture the character of this person that I found really fun just to be with. She's very open and she was very clear, and you know, she took enough risks in conversation with an old guy, you know, that allowed me to experience some of the depth of character that she brings to the table. Because most kids, you go, hi, how are you? They go, fine, how are you? You know, and I go, oh God, come over here. and this kid didn't get driving home with this glow. I don't have another word.
What would you tell somebody, a stranger, about this program?
I would say there are still some good children out there.
And you discovered that today.
And I was pleasantly surprised.
You know, I think one of the biggest learnings is that we are all more alike than we are different. Whether or not you're 14 or 44 or 94, I think we all have the same emotions, we even have a lot of the same experiences. Just kind of fun. I had a fun thing with my little fella. His name is Antonio. And because my name on my driver's license is Antoinette, my name tag said Antoinette, even though I go by Tony. So my grandparents were Antonio and Antoinette. Isn't that amazing?
Oh my God.
It was just a fun way to meet somebody, and there was an instant connection because of that, you know. And then I think from there, it just, you know, even meeting tonight, he said, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, I'm so nervous. I think the age blurs. It really has been interesting to see what happens between us. And just a very wide open, I was delighted with the fellow that I got said to me, I'm very shy and I have a hard time talking to people, but I can talk to you and say anything. that just touched my heart so deeply, and it's just been a very, very rich experience, and I would do it again, certainly.
My name is Ava Kroll, and I'm in 7th grade. Hello, my name is Evelina Rouse, and I am also in 7th grade.
Excellent. What did you like about the program?
Well, I got to meet someone who I normally wouldn't talk to. I normally talk to people in my own age range, and I also don't really have a chance to talk to other people besides my grandparents. So it was really nice to hear their stories and their side of life, and that they're not just old and grouchy. They actually have personalities and families and so many fun adventures to share, and that was really special to me.
I liked how I could just meet someone and instantly know everything about them and talk to them right away, and I just had a lot of fun interacting with them.
What's the best part?
That's tough. I mean, writing a monologue was fun, but I think just hearing so many different stories about a person, because I may be fun and bubbly, but I also have parts of my past that aren't as fun and bubbly, so getting to know different sides of a person and really be able to create that bond and friendship was really special for me.
I really liked the interaction and between not just me and my partner, but everyone else. And when they wrote their monologues, they heard the whole story about what happened, but the story that they told, they didn't tell the whole story, and they have that secret between each other that no one else knows.
Would either one of you recommend this to another middle school
Yes,
student?
absolutely.
Why would that be?
I hate to stereotype every middle schooler on their phone, but I'll be honest, we're pretty much always on our phone, and being able to meet new people, not just in our own age group, but people you wouldn't normally talk to, getting to meet someone who's much older than you and grew up in a different time, but them not yelling at you, being back in my day, but instead coming together as someone who doesn't know, who isn't as familiar with this time period, and someone who is, and just coming together to create this wonderful bond of friendship and happiness.
I think I would recommend this to another middle schooler because I feel everyone has their own little friend group, and they really don't get out of that group of people. So it kind of opens you up to more people of different ages, and even though you don't have you're interacting with your classmates too, not just the adults, and that was fun.
Well, she loves getting up early to go to school. She's made so many new friends. Even one friend from St. Martha's followed her here. His name's Augie, and she's just making so many friends and loving every assignment she's taking on, and she even joined the Junior Thespians, and she didn't have to.
What was it like to see her tonight? To see her do this?
I was in awe. I can't believe how brave she was to get on stage. She loves being on stage. She's very dramatic, and I think she's found herself here. And I think she was stifled at her other schools. She didn't have any outlets, and here she has. She would like to join every art class, but you can only do 2. So. She had to choose drama and art, although she should be in musical theater and orchestra. She has so many different talents. And,
would you recommend this to other
Definitely.
kids who want to do this? So, why?
It's just a very great experience because you get to interact with an older generation than you would usually, because us teenagers usually hang out with teenagers, so it's actually a really good experience to interact with the older generations.
I liked collaborating with people of different ages because like I said at the beginning of the program, I'm really not exposed to much elders. One of my teachers is a little older, maybe, my granny, she lives at my home. Other than that, I don't see a lot of people that are wise beyond their wise among their years.
Yeah.
I got those words mixed up. And yeah, I just wanted to see some words of wisdom.
I look at you for Antonia Watson. and everyone else. Antonia, I look at you, blanketed in love of parents, sister, grandparents, family. Your future is open as the skies of Montana, where daily memories come wafting on the wings of summer. Antonia, I look at you. Pretty, practical, focused. Know the basics. Stay on your feet. Put education first. Make the beneficial choices. Yes, Antonia, I look at you, practical, focused, and grounded. Grounded in your family, grounded in your heritage. Your great-grandmother Beulah tells you of her great-grandparents, victims of the harsh legacy of African enslavement. Knowing this makes me sad, more sad than angry. And yet, our family survived. We are here. And now, all these generations later, we have to make things better. Yes, Antonia, your family survived and you are here, walking in love and dreaming dreams of things getting better, better communities, a better world, a world where human problems can be solved. Health issues, fuel, global warming. Antonia, you are the promise. Our child, moving forward out of childhood, moving forward toward real responsibility. I look at you, Antonia, singing songs of possibility and love, speaking words of hopefulness and truth. Know your beauty, know your power, and soar, Antonia. Remember the strength and courage of your ancestors, and soar, Antonia. Continue, day by day, to make the beneficial choices, and soar, Antonia, soar into the open skies of your own bright future.
What was it like to, do you spend a lot of time with people who are older like this?
Well, my grandma she's blind and she plays for nursing homes, so when I go to see her, I do. But otherwise, no.
Oh God, so you go to the nursing home?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, so you're used
fun.
to that a little bit too. Did you learn anything from your elder?
That you always have to believe in yourself.
Oh, it's kind of a big thing. That's really great. What's your favorite thing about this whole program?
I think it's learning the stories and their differences, and I really enjoyed that, doing that and hearing that.
And was there, now you had to rehearse it all, but
yeah.
Once you did it last night, did that change anything? How was that different?
Oh, again, it's the equation, the theater, and the audience, one member, that creates it. So it was different because it was actually an audience.
Do you feel different now? And I've asked before, do you recommended this to any other kids?
Yes, definitely.
Good.
I think we should do it every year.
And why is that?
Because you just get to learn a lot, and it's a very different experience than what we're used to.
Now you're one of the distinct people who doesn't have your elder as part of the performance. Have you been in contact with him since?
I have a little bit, not directly, but indirectly through his friends and family.
Yeah.
It's hard performing without him because I feel like there's a connection that should be reciprocated, so I don't have there's not as much energy going into my performing, knowing that he won't be able to be there and hear it and feel that connection. But I'm still doing it as well as I can without him because I'm so happy that I got to do this, and I hope he feels so much better.
Oh. What happened that you didn't expect to happen?
We had a very good connection, and I thought that it would be uncomfortable because sometimes people who aren't your age are uncomfortable to talk to because they don't understand your life. But I think it's good that they don't fully understand your life because they lived a different age. They lived your life at a different age, so they have different views on what's good and what's bad, and it helped me because it was like a mentor to look up to.
Was there anything that really connected that you had that was really similar?
We were actually quite different, but opposites attract, and we had a really good connection.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course.
And would you recommend this to?
Yes, of course. I had such a good time, and I think it's a really good opportunity to have an elder have a teenager's point of view and the opposite, because we all live in the same world, but we have different points of views, and to make those come together has such a beautiful connection, and I think it was a really good opportunity for me, and I definitely recommend it.
I'm Sylvia Alvarez, and I'm in 8th grade.
So, what did you like about this program?
I got to communicate with someone that I never thought I would relate with so much, and that was a senior, and finding all this emotion and letting it all out, and have someone that can relate and kind of help me out through that.
Excellent. Did you learn anything that you didn't expect?
Just kind of communication. And once I got onto the stage and actually performed, I thought I would just freeze, but I didn't. It felt nice.
Tell me more about that. There's part of this program is writing and interviewing and getting to know your elder, but you just said a wonderful thing that happened last night. Was there anything else about last night that changed you at all?
I never thought that I would be able to do that. Like, even at my auditions, when I audition for shows, I freeze. And to perform in front of a bunch of people that I don't know, it felt nice to get it out. And now I know I can do it.
Excellent. Excellent. Would you recommend this to other students your age?
I would.
Great. And why?
Because everyone's different, and if you are to interview someone and you find something in common, it helps you out as a person inside, and it feels nice to get what you are feeling inside out, and to perform in front of a bunch of people and be able to do it makes you feel really good inside.
Every little girl has her dream. Being a princess, having a pet unicorn, or being a makeup artist. Not me. I wanted to be an archaeologist. Digging up bones, analyzing them, figuring out what they are. Not every girl's dream. At least it was different. Come on, everyone! Let's dig up some bones. If you find anything, tell me. Okay. Sorry. I hit something. Come on. I found one. I want to go mail this to the museum. Come on. Mom, I found a bone. I'm going to write a letter to the museum. I'll I'll be in my room. Okay. Love you too. Okay. Dear museum. Close enough. I hope you find this bone helpful. I hope you find a new animal from it. I found it in an open area near my house. Signed, Carol Wolf. Done. Now to mail it. I need an envelope. Got it. And a stamp. Now to put it all together. And done. Now to mail it. Mom, I'm going outside to mail my letter. Okay. Bone. Letter. Now I wait. A couple days go by. Nothing. A couple months later, I figured out that that bone was actually a human bone. Ugh. There was a graveyard that they couldn't build over yet because it hadn't been long enough. So I gave up that dream as soon as I figured out that bone was human. Now I work for a company that recruits people like an editor or a salesperson. I mean, at least I don't have a chance of digging up a human bone.
Mom, do you have the camera? Okay. How do I look? Do I look okay? Oh, wait, I forgot to take this. Okay, now remember, this is just a walkthrough. So I've got notes, and I'm going to be reading them, and we can practice, and then we can finish this up. So, you ready? Can you hear me? Okay. Hello, judges. My name is Kyle Patrick Ramone. This is my first audition for America's Got Talent. But if you don't take me, it will not be my last. I'm 12 years old. I was born in Sarasota, Florida, and I've lived here all my life. I go to Booker Middle School where I'm in the VPA, Visual Performing Arts program. It's just awesome. And a shout out to Miss Mills, who has taught me so much. My biggest passion is musical theater. My goal is to be on Broadway. I have been in about 20 shows in the past 5 years. I've even been in professional shows like Evita, and I was an understudy in Sound of Music where I got to go on 3 times. Even if I'm not on the stage, I really just love watching the actors have fun. I love it so much, it's my happy place. It started when I was 6 years old and I saw my brother Dylan in a play. I was in 1st grade. He was in Jungle Book. I thought that was really cool, and I knew then that's what I wanted to do. So the next year, I was in a play, and I loved it so much, I just kept going and going and going. Did I tell you that I've been in 20 plays in the last 5 years? 4 plays a year. Yeah, 20. And I dance a little. I take tap lessons, and I take Broadway dance theater lessons, and all kinds of lessons. Sometimes I'm in rehearsal for 3 plays at once. Like last year, I was in Spamalot, the school play, and then I was in the Addams Family, where I played Pugsley. And then I was in Shrek, where I played 5 different characters. My dad says my brother and I are talented because he sang in chorus in middle school. And he teases us when we sing. He goes, la, 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 la. My parents are very supportive, even though they tease us. Like when we were getting in the car and my mom said, I'm gonna sing for everybody. And I went like, no! And then we were listening to Lion King, and she didn't know the words, so she started making up words in front of my friends. But she has a great sense of humor. I love my mom. Anyway, when all the shows are going, it's school, homework, rehearsal, homework, and then shower at night, because I'm not a morning person. When things get me down or I get frustrated, like with homework and other things, I just shake it all off, and I start again. I like to listen to Broadway music, because sometimes it really speaks to me, and it feels like it's talking just to me, so I listen to it a lot. I'm very outgoing, in case you haven't noticed, and very brave about what everybody says. Even if they say bad things about me, I know it's just their opinion. My other passion is baking and cooking. I make a delicious brownie. For a picnic with my friends, I made a chocolate whipped cream brownie with chocolate chips. It was yummy. I have one in my backpack now, and if you take me, I'll bring them to the show. I also make basic stuff like tacos, eggs for breakfast. You just whip them up and put them in a pan, and I'm great at microwaving. My friend Cora and I bake a lot. Like we made crepes for breakfast with whipped cream and chocolate chips and strawberries and powder on top. We did it from scratch with no help. Okay, just a basic recipe, but we invented all the rest. I got the love for baking by watching my mom make brownies for the holidays. And my great aunt Cora, my great aunt, is such a great cook. I help her make, I help her make dinner sometimes, and I have some of her recipes. She makes the best stuffed shells. They're so good, and she adds cheese and stuff and makes sauce by herself with bacon in it. So, anyway, so that's about me. So for today, for our audition, I'm going to sing a little song, and for the character, the singing chef. I love to bake, I make great cakes. I know I've got just what it takes. You can count on me to sweeten your treats. A little flour, a pinch of salt, and enough chocolate to fill a vault. You can count on me to make your tummy go yum yum. If you like your icing lemon or even watermelon, I will make your sweet tooth shout, hooray, hooray, hooray. I love to bake some tasty crepes to help you forget all your aches and make you laugh when I am in a play, or 2, or 10, or 20. If you're feeling downish, I can be pretty clownish and make you laugh when I'm in a play. I just sang that again. I'll sing a song to make you strong and move all your blues along. You can count on me too. You can count on me too. You can count on me to make your day. I will sing and dance your blues away. I'd like to give a shout out to my mom for videotaping this. Mom, I love you. Thank you so much. I know you love me too, but not as much as I love you. Boom! Right in the gut.
Soul Synergy taught me that a monologue isn't like a report, it's more of acting out when it happened and like where it happened and stuff, and not actually giving facts about the person, and I really like that.
Synergy is awesome. Soulless Energy is amazing. Soulless Energy is mind-opening.
Alex, you won't believe what happened to me the other day. You know Richie, right? Yeah, the one with the small circle glasses. Yeah, him. We were playing around, you know, like kids do, and then we seen this door. We never seen it before. So, we opened the door and we feel it was a basement. So, we went in it, and we seen a whole bunch of creepy statues. It was like they were just following us, left to right. front to back. It was just so weird. Then we seen these candles. I may have, well, I know, we did like them. And then we were just so interested in them. And all of a sudden, hey, you guys down there, come here. And then this sassy nun drags us out of the basement into the yard. It was so embarrassing. Just when I thought I was gonna get away with it, I was handed a letter at the end of the day saying to bring this back by tomorrow with my dad's signature. Yeah, I know, I was so scared to go home, but I had to. When I got home, my dad was sitting in the same old chair. Handed him the letter without saying a word. Went to my room so quick, cleaned anything, everything. Because maybe if he was mad and he said I was cleaning up something and he came to my room, he wouldn't be as mad. 45 minutes passed, still nothing. So I peeked my head out the door just the slightest bit and seen the paper ripped up on the floor. I asked him, did you read it? He was like, yeah, I read it. It's just so dumb. Pay $5 for each candle? Someone must be off their rocker. They must have their panties in a bunch if they think I'm gonna pay them. So I laughed and went to my room. Then the next day, I came to school. Today, they didn't even ask for the dumb paper back. I wonder if Frenchie got in trouble. I'm just kidding. I know he did.
Chill diva. When you see her, you know she's got the style that fits her best. Holding her backpack tied to her chest, walking the halls, drifting to class, thinking who's looking because I'm at my best, and fill in the rest, y'all. Walking, thinking everybody's looking for like those aliens I see in the documentaries. Maybe they look just like Kenny and me. Queen Bee, yeah, that's me, just like a smiling pit bull running free, tripping in this world long after it started. Singing till my mortal self leaves me, won't you be startled? Yeah. Megatons of history, just as much science. Friends to me, helping me solve some mysteries, keep shaping me in each new day. Pushing me in a brand new way, singing my songs as I go along.
Solo synergy.
Solo synergy. Solo synergy.
Solo synergy. Solo synergy. Solo synergy.
Solo synergy.
All righty.
Hey.
That was fun, huh?
Hey.
That was good.
That was
Look who's
incredible.
joining us. We've got
Hi there.
we got Jan Docking. She's our president of SaraSolo Productions. What you got some cool things to tell us?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm so glad that we're moving in a not brand new direction, but an expanded direction for our education programs.
Yeah.
You've been watching, and hopefully you've been watching the bridge from 2 years ago. And we've had, this is how many years now?
We have 5 years of it so far.
Yeah.
And this will be our fifth season will be in the fall.
And hey, we might even be in a couple of other schools
Jan,
this fall.
You took part a bit in the first one, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
She was a substitute just in case.
I was a
okay.
substitute.
Okay. All right. But you were on hand and you
Yes,
were right
I
there
was
and
there
you've
in
seen all
case
of
they
them.
needed me.
And you were
Well,
there.
That's what I try to do. Being the president, you have to have your
Sometimes
hands
you
in
just have to be.
all-
You just have to pretend you're an elder, and just.
Oh yeah, it's not too much of a pretend now.
Right. Oh, Jan, I love that you're here with us because it just makes it
Well, it looks
warm.
like we've had a lot of donations that came in too.
Yes,
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Very
all
and just
for-
keep it coming because
we have another 23 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Time is in minutes and
Yay!
almost one, or 12, 11 and a half because it's 12. No, it's almost one. Isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, almost one. So another plus 23 hours that you can give. And you
Right.
can wake up in the morning and give early or stay up all night and give it tonight.
Yes.
I think it's
Anytime from now on.
24 hours from 12 to 12 today and tomorrow. 12 noon today to 12 noon tomorrow.
I got another fun video for us to watch.
All right.
Yay!
That was wonderful.
It was. So, good evening, everyone. I am Carrie Mills, and I am the theater teacher at Booker Middle School. I'm one half of the leadership team of this amazing program that you just witnessed, The Bridge. I'd like to introduce my partners, Annie and Blake. Annie and Blake, give a little wave. So good to see you. Go ahead and introduce yourself now, too.
I'm Ann Morrison. I am co-founder and artistic director of SaraSolo Productions and educational specialist for Solar Synergy.
And I'm Blake Walton, the co-founder and director of SaraSolo Productions. And I got to be a participant through this as well, as well as a facilitator. So,
Exactly. Carrie, do you remember when we started this whole process, you decided would it be fun to have a one-word check-in? Tell us about that. Maybe we should do that tonight now that we're ending.
Sure. So the way that we started off our first meeting was everybody got to say a one-word check-in describing how they were feeling. And there weren't any right answers and there weren't any wrong answers. It was sometimes the first thing that came to your mind. And so we're going to do a one-word check-in tonight that for you kind of describes the entire experience. So I'm going to call on people because you're in a specific order on my screen. And then go ahead and unmute yourself to share your check-in and then mute yourself afterwards. Zoom is a wonderful place to live, isn't it? So here we go. So Cynthia,
Yes.
can you tell us one word that kind of sums up your whole experience with this project?
Wild.
I love it. And Lizzie, what about you?
I'm going to cheat and say two words. Hyphenated. Learning curve.
Oh, yes.
Good. So, Carol, go ahead and share your one-word check-in about the entire experience.
Enlightening.
Lightning, great.
Enlightening, yes.
Great. And her partner was Maddie. So, Maddie, go ahead and share your word.
We'll go with awesome.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. Sanaya, you're up next.
Well, this is big. Victorious, because I did things I didn't think I could do.
Victoria, I love that word. That's great. Aubrey, you're coming up next because you and Sanaya were partners.
It changed the way how I saw things, I guess.
So can you sum that up in one word?
No.
That's okay. So I think this experience is so gigantic that sometimes one word doesn't do it justice. Okay. Ariana, you're up next.
Exciting.
Exciting. And Blake was Ariana's partner. So Blake, you get to go next.
Glowing, because that's the way my heart felt through this.
Wonderful. Neil, coming to you.
My word is sweet.
Wonderful. Sandra.
Cool. It was very cool.
Cool. Great. Julian.
Thoughtful.
Thoughtful? Is that what you said? Beautiful. Bob.
Sharing.
Say that again. Sharing?
Sharing.
Wonderful.
Sharing life's experiences.
I love it. I love it. Kaniko, your turn.
Inspiring.
Inspiring. I love it. Amari, go ahead.
Swag.
Fantastic. Darche, you're up next, sweetie.
Very fun.
Very fun. Alan, how about you?
Galvanized.
Cool. JL.
It was funny.
I think that's great. It's one of my favorite things, the funny things that we find during this whole project. Dennis?
That was delightful.
Delightful. Carly?
Playful.
Playful. Kenny?
Joyful.
Joyful. Annie, you get to share your word as well.
Heartwarming.
Heartwarming.
And what's your word, Carrie?
My word, I think, gosh, there are so many words. But I'm actually going to go with my word that's my word for the year, which is actually bliss, because it really, truly was very, very blissful.
Very cool.
So Annie Blake, take it away.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, and not everybody has to answer, but does anyone want to share what was their expectation when they started? What was your expectation when we began this whole thing? Does anyone, okay, Carly.
I really wanted to know about younger people because I don't have any with me.
Okay. Any one of the students, what was your expectation? Oh, go ahead, Bob.
What it was like to be 12 years old again.
Yeah. And oh yes, Kenny.
What it felt like to be in the older days.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Great. What was a challenge through this whole thing? What was a big challenge? Carol.
Learning about Minecraft. Trying to understand gaming. It was fascinating and exciting and scary. But it really opened my mind. Like,
Lizzie.
I think coming from a completely different culture, British culture, to an American culture and a childhood culture as well, school culture. It's a long time since I was at school.
Any other students? What was it? I think that was fantastic. That could go on for another 5 hours, so we'll just stop that right now.
But yeah, each of us have our glasses.
I know, and sometimes
This is behind the scenes.
Sometimes I think it glares, and I have to take.
Here we are. There. Now we can't see anything.
No,
but
it's all right. But we just had some more wonderful donations come in. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, everybody. This has been fantastic. You have to take off pretty soon, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have a doctor's appointment a little bit later today.
So we have real lives here.
Yeah.
No, that's
okay. I'll take my glasses out too.
Okay, now we've been
Neither of you have your glasses.
Okay, we'll put our glasses back on.
All right,
Okay.
now it's on glasses time.
Okay.
All right. It takes me a little longer because of the age.
No, Jan, this is really important because we do all have, our entire board is volunteer. So you have a distinct other life besides what you do for us in the 4 years or 3 years you've been 4 years?
7 years.
God, we're here for 8 years already.
Yeah.
I
You came in the second year.
after. Yes. David, bless his heart. He's still in our hearts. David Coyle. Yes, had to leave after the first year after you established.
That's right.
It was time to retire, you know? You have to do it someday.
Yeah. So yes, I came
And you
in.
came in immediately. It feels like you've always been here, but I'm also forgetting that we are 8 years old.
Yes.
Children still.
And our programming is not just with the middle school, because we also are in Booker High School in the Visual and Performing Arts Center with the juniors in the theater department. And their facilitator is Sunny D. Smith, who is a colleague in a way, and she's just as up on solo theater as anybody. So should we talk a little bit about that?
Program is Solo Me.
Oh, solo me. Oh,
solo mio. We have a theme song.
I know. It's a little familiar for some reason, but I don't know why. But I would like to share something here with you all. If I can pull it up. Let's talk a little bit about the types, and I wonder if I can get into it. Will it let me get in? It's being funny and it's not allowing me to go in. Why is that? Why is it not letting me in?
This is our technician.
Trying to be tech savvy as best I possibly can. Okay, let's find out why that is. talk among yourselves.
All right.
Yes,
Yes.
among ourselves, among ourselves, among ourselves, watermelon.
And if we're extras in a soap opera or any kind of movie, we have to be talking at the same time because that's what
is
they
that
always
right?
do.
Oh, okay. Yes, I know.
That is so annoying. You know what? Maybe I may just have to share the screen this way. So let's just do it this way and see if I can pull it up. Da, 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 da. That's interesting.
We're gonna do the kick too.
Let's see if I can get it to come up. All righty. I don't know why that's not working. All right. Okay. Well, then we won't talk about it.
Yeah, but this program's been going on as long as the bridge, 1 year after the bridge, right?
Actually, it started the same year.
The same year. Okay.
But we consider them separate entities, really.
Yes. But it's still part of the Solo Synergy program.
It's all part of Solo Synergy. Yes. And now we're part of the curriculum at both Booker Middle and Booker High School.
That's true.
That's
but we were talking about in the classroom with the Booker Visual and Performing Arts Center. We have to talk about all kinds of solo theater development for them. It's not just putting on a play. We ask them to delve into themselves because that's a brave place to go. And at least you might know something about yourself or the world around you to be the stimulus of a solo piece.
But we give them a bit of history, what came before them, because Annie and I and Jan will chime in with this too, agree that you kind of, in order to go forward, you kind of need to know where you came from.
Exactly.
And solo theater is not it's not, greatly in our theater realm. It's not something a lot. Some people have never been exposed to it.
Right.
And certainly the creation of solo theater is something that almost none of our students have done prior to our program.
Oh, look what I discovered.
There it is.
I think I found it. Okay, now we can talk about it.
There we are. Okay.
But I just have to figure out how, look what I'm learning. So we give them a crash course on solo plays. We look at what a monologist does, who basically tells a monologue. It could be a personal story, but that's what solo play is all about. It can be autobiographical, something in their life, or it could be biographical about a person in history.
And story theater is another style. And that's actually, we have Annie's picture up there because when I directed Annie in Linda Lovely Goes to Broadway in story theater style, which has a couple distinct features. And one is things are done in circles, that it's not natural acting. You don't walk into a door, open a door and walk it through it. You create different kinds of theatricality in that way. Right. It's typically with a narrator.
Right. So we have spoken word, which is poetry. Some people have a lot to say through they're wonderful poets and express themselves in that way.
The word is the most important thing about spoken word, as that's why the title. But so there.
Very different from story theater.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
I love this word. This is a monopolylogue.
Yes.
Which is interesting. It's someone might have several little characters that they do within one large piece. We have a lot of famous people who do that. They're popular. They'll have there'll be maybe a theme about the neighborhood, but they play very distinct individual monologues within that larger piece.
And that's different than story theater or a narrative that includes different characters and where the narrator might morph into one of the characters as they go along. These are distinct monologues
in themselves,
that may be about the same. They're always about the same theme, and they may be people in the same realm, but they're all done by one person.
Right. Then I love to give a solo cabaret development class, really get an appreciation of the people that have come before, how they develop their pattern within a song. We talk a little bit about acting a song and why is it different from doing it in a musical. They have a lot of free reign. They can create a personal story and tell through cabaret. So that's a lot of the students enjoy telling their pieces through cabaret or musical. what's a little bit different than a cabaret form where you're singing songs that may have a theme. A musical has got, it's as if the person has written a scripted piece, so that the songs come out of the scripting as if it was like a musical. That's kind of what I'm working on right now.
And actually, there's a little distinction between a musical and a cabaret in Annie's eyes, and the way I would define cabaret too, because the cabaret also has a book.
Right.
And there's now this particular musical that we've got up here is a song cycle, so it's just sung through. Clearly, the music is the most important thing, but the musical will have an arc and it will have a story to tell.
Absolutely. And then we like to delve into physical theater. So maybe someone wants to tell their story through movement. It might be through dance. It might be through mime. It might be through circus art. And they might mix that with a spoken word or something, but the main focus of telling their story is through physicality.
And then we have stand-up comedy, which we all understand. And there is a difference between some stand-up comedy that we see when we talk about a solo version of that, it's probably about 70 minutes long. It might have an arc as well. It might be several different pieces to it. So there.
Yeah. And then performance art. A lot of solo pieces can fall under performance art, where they're mixing media and poetry and movement and storytelling. So it sometimes it's visual art is a large component of that piece of performance art. It's really cool. And then this couple years we've had a solo toy theater artist who created his whole universe and storytelling through his puppetry.
Yeah, this is a very refined, rarefied kind of theater too, and it's delightful if you can ever find it. Puppetry goes absolutely into toy theater, and toy theater is puppetry, so it's wonderful. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So that's what we have to deal with the high school kids is give them through that, and then they have a chance to start exploring, writing things down. We give them prompts, as Claire said at the beginning of the program, and let them explore and come together. And what's nice about the classroom is that they are a model of what Blake and I've always wanted to have down here anyway. It's a retreat for solo artists to come and work. It's very lonely to do solo theater, to create it on your own. And if you're smart, you at least have a director, so you have that eye of the audience. But it's lonely. And by having a group of people come together, working on individual pieces, because it's not competitive. It's your own unique story. They can share. They can have ideas. Oh, you're looking for a particular song. What if it becomes it's a wonderful.
We want to talk really distinctly about this, but I want to ask Jan what that phone call was about, and are you okay? And we may
back in or not.
Yeah, great.
Hi, that was Kathy Moon, who is helping us online.
Right.
But she wants to put some names on Twitter.
Great.
Excellent.
Of the donations we received so
and the
far
amounts.
today, and yes.
Good.
And so that was the phone call.
Perfect.
And that
Excellent.
was my phone.
Well, I'm going to let some of the Booker students do an excerpt so you can see what they're all about. How's that?
Oh, wonderful. Because I have to go.
Hi, I'm Scott Keys, and I teach theater at Booker Visual and Performing Arts High School. And I just want to talk a little bit about Sarah Synergy and the great work that Annie Morrison and Blake Walton and all of the SaraSolo people have done with our juniors the last couple of years in giving them a chance to create these solo pieces. It's so great that these kids get a chance to invest in their own life as being a piece of theater, to take stories from their own life and create a work. It gives them a confidence and a sense of self that is just really, really incredible and so good for them as young artists. one of the things that these solo pieces do for our students when they're working on them, they get to investigate their own life and delve into what makes them tick as a person. Stories of their own life that they mold into some sort of a one-person theatrical story. And it brings them such a sense of self and self-esteem in doing this. They become a star of their own life, so to speak. The other great part is as they head off to college, so many colleges want what they either call a wild card video or even essays. And from doing this project, with both from playwriting and from performing them, they have material as they're going into college to find that unique profile piece that they can send off to colleges. And it just really makes them stand out, I think, with colleges, universities. The SaraSynergy project for our students really helps them find their own voice, who they are. We train the students in how to audition for roles, how to sing, how to work on audition pieces, monologues, and to perform other roles. But when they are able to take their own life story and create a dramatic work, whether it be humorous, whether it be heartfelt or homespun, they just find a real sense of who they are and where they fit in this ongoing world of theater and acting. Such great experience for them to be able to spend time with themselves, their own thoughts, and translate that into a performance art piece.
But even though we are all doing the same exact thing, the process of getting there is different.
Something that really helped me with my script writing is I'm a person who builds up other people. So if you say something out in the audience, I'll respond to you. So I made my piece very like interactive with the audience. Not in a sense where I was like, oh, what's your favorite cake? I would just say something that I didn't even realize it was funny. I would say something about my dad. Like, I think a good example was I said something about my dad. And I said something about him working in a retirement home. And they were like, oh, that's kind of funny. And I was like, yeah, because he's old. And he's going to be in there someday. And then it was like, oh, that is so uncomfortable. Like, oh, are we supposed to laugh right now? Like, and I was like, yes, you can laugh. It's okay. And then my dad stood up and did a little funny little thing. All right, okay, bye.
All right, Andre.
Jesus.
Solo Synergy is an enlightening program that brings students not only performance skills, but also life skills. Confidence, communication, and the ability to express are just a few that I gained and am so thankful for.
SaraSolo has taught me patience by having me drive alongside snowbirds. Oh, Sharon's calling. I'm eating my orange. All right, I'm just gonna swerve carelessly, not thinking about anyone else, still opening my orange. It's fine, Floridians don't care. Sorry, Nancy, I'll call you later.
I have a panic disorder. I can feel my throat closing and my eyes growing green, shaking and spinning. I toss and turn in my broken bed side to side over and over, and I still can't find my body too comfortable in the tight skin that I am in. I tight. My skin is too tight for my body. My body's too small for my mind. My mind is way too much for this earth. It seems like I'm floating in a galaxy's black hole and I can't ground myself. I try to swim out of the black because I keep finding myself, and eventually I'll splash into the blue and I'll feel free. But I'm not free. I'm trapped. Concealed down at the bottom of the well. I'm in prison. Solitary. Inside, tied up in a straitjacket with lecture therapy, hitting, zapping, and burning my nervous system, causing me to lay with no control of my body and a straight stream of paralysis. And I'm tied down so tightly, and I can't breathe at all. I've lost all my oxygen supply. I look down to see my feet off the ground, and I'm levitating. I feel like the devil himself has a hold on me, and he won't let go of me no matter how hard I scream at the top of my lungs.
And before I get to this next part, I want you all to observe me. I know we have spent probably a couple 6 minutes, but just take me in a little bit. Sorry, I didn't even know that you guys were there. Now, that was getting a little bit weird for my liking, so let's continue with the story. So this man asks me, "You know what music is?" I said, "You know what? As a matter of fact, I do." And he said, "You know that Kanye guy?" I said, "Well, yes, of course." Then he said, "You look just like him." "Are you two related in any way?" And I said, "Well, yes. We were twins who were separated at birth." And then slowly drove away, rolling my window up, leaving that man in absolute shock. And on that note, I think it's time to pull out the tearjerkers. Specifically for you, Mom. If you're not crying already, you're not my real mom. And Dad, I would expect you to cry too, but I don't think in the 17 years of me living you have ever cried, so I'll let it slide. Now, I've noticed that there are a couple of parallels between my relationship with my father and California. That even though they are thousands of miles away and not always with me, my love for them will never fade away. If anything, the more time I spend away from them, the stronger my love grows. So thank you, California. And Dad, everyone turn and face the bald, short man. Yes. Not gonna lie, I'm completely and utterly surprised that you actually showed up. So thank you. And I love you, Dad. That's not written in the script.
I'm so in my own fucking head, I can't take it sometimes. This is when the insecurity kicks in. This is where my fantasy turns into a nightmare. Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Kinda flat. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. That was pitchy. In other words, told my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. What the fuck are you doing with your hands? Fill my heart with song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship. Stop looking down, idiot. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. I can't do it. I can't take it anymore. I'm done. Yeah. Like I said, in my own head a lot.
Solo Synergy was an opportunity for me to realize that every story in my life has purpose
If I just pay attention and really focus on it, everyone can learn from everyone. So everyone really does have a story. Thank you, Annie and Blake.
Y-U-N. Yun. It means cloud in the Chinese language, and it's also my middle name. At the beginning of the year, I told most of you I hated my middle name and that you would never know it. As of 30 seconds ago, 4 people in my life knew my middle name, and now we're here. My middle name is part of my heritage and my life, but it also caused me so much pain. From the very beginning of my life, I was never wanted. I mean, I'm literally adopted. One man's trash was another man's treasure, I guess. Come on, look at me. When someone didn't want me, they placed me in the donate pile for those in need. Those in need were my parents. They are both wonderful, creative, beautiful people, and they're also white. I am anything but white. When I looked at my parents when I was younger, I didn't see a different race or ethnicity, I just saw my parents. Growing up, they weren't white, they were just mom and dad. As great as it was to be oblivious to the existence of race, all fairy tales must come to an end, and we must face the real world. My real world consisted of private school. And I know on Sundays some people went to praise the Lord, but I pretty much went to hell to study Mandarin. That didn't really work out for me. But Sundays were the only days of the week where I got to be around people that looked like me. I guess that's probably why my parents wanted me to keep learning how to speak statistically the hardest language, even at the age of 4. Even with all the culture, the language, the food, the clothing, right down to the hooded eyes, it still wasn't clicking. Now, being a Jewish Asian doesn't really earn you a lot of playground cred in elementary school. No friends for me. What a shocker. Like learning about the terracotta warriors. Once we were shown pictures of the warriors and all heads turned towards me.
Through Annie and Blake's mentoring, I have been able to improve as an artist through Solo Synergy.
I'm very thankful for Annie and Blake for including us in Solo Synergy so we're able to express our thoughts and feelings through performance.
What I gained from Solo Synergy was a new love for poetry and writing things like that to inspire me.
I enjoyed making my solo play with Solo Synergy because it taught me a new form of self-expression.
Solo Synergy was an opportunity for me to realize that every story in my life has purpose. If I just pay attention and really focus on it, everyone can learn from everyone. So everyone really does have a story. Thank you, Annie and Blake.
January 25th, Monday. I was just body checking in the mirror and I got new gym clothes. At first I thought they fit my body really well and made me look really good. But after staring for a bit longer, it became very clear that I put on weight. Seeing it made me petrified. Even though my mom just called me petite, even though I went to the gym today, even though the gym clothes made me feel good, I just had a wave of panic course through my body. Lately, fitness has been very fun, and the past 2 weeks have been really good, and I appreciate my body, but right now, I'm scared to go back and check in the mirror. I need to go back to school, and this is way too much pressure on myself. I look completely fine, even if I am a little heavier, even if I gained a few pounds during the month. I feel good, and that is what should matter. My friends still love me. I'm still the most hilarious girl. I am loved. I don't need a six-pack. I'm getting stronger and faster every day. Even my friends think I'm still totally ripped. Isn't that enough? I get validation from absolutely fucking everywhere but myself. My goal this week
is to change how I talk to myself. Even if my waist isn't as tiny or if my arms aren't slimmer and toned, I am worth happiness. I deserve love. I'm a good person. Lifting weights doesn't determine whether I am worthy or not. Lifting weights doesn't determine whether I'm worthy or not.
Welcome to today's 30-minute HIIT workout.
Today we're gonna shred you up.
Today's workout is gonna be a ton of fun.
With no repeats.
It's just 10 minutes, but it's gonna be intense.
All right, you ready to warm up?
Ready to go.
All right, so
Let's go. Booty back and down.
with a jog in place. All you have to do.
You guys ready?
Yes.
Let's start with our 30 seconds of gorilla burpees in about 10 seconds. Here we go.
Drive up. Breathe. Make sure you breathe throughout.
Give me a couple more. You can do 3 more, maybe even 10 more.
If you've never been fit, you never will be fit.
Have your abs, they're there. Everyone has six packs. It's just revealing them, right? Getting that layer off the top.
If you're trying to lose weight, being more active is a great start.
You knew what you were doing when you clicked on a workout that said intense, so you came to work.
If you've never been fit, you never will be fit.
I have been so fortunate to have Solo Synergy in my classroom the last several years. This type of work has really opened my students up.
Annie and Blake's work has really helped me to kind of think about things that I would have pushed away before and really consider them and why I've been feeling like that.
Annie and Blake's work really helped me center my own writing and figure out exactly how I want to put my thoughts into words.
Annie and Blake's work has helped me connect with my true self.
Annie and Blake always bring such an exciting energy into the classroom, which makes us excited to work on our projects with them, so it's always just a very fun experience.
Solo Synergy has really helped me express my ideas and my feelings down on paper, which was something that was very difficult for me to do beforehand.
Look who we have. We have someone who just popped into our, knocked on our door, and we'll always let her in.
This is Carly Murdoch.
Right. Carly Murdoch's been a part of SaraSolo for, well, she started off as an artist. She started off as a flying solo member. When we were in the very beginnings, working right from the beginning, we wanted to have like a retreat. And so we started teaching solo classes and had people in.
And during the festivals, we had the week between, and we had workshops that happened during that time. And so Carly started working within those workshops with us, and then performed.
Then we came to 2018, where Gretchen Lum wanted desperately to perform, but she decided she couldn't at kind of the last minute.
Oh my goodness, looky here, who's that?
I cut my hair.
You cut your hair.
Yeah.
You became the poster girl that year.
That's right.
I did. And it was really an incredible experience. I had performed all my life, but never, well, yeah, we did shows together. But I never did it alone. I did a 3-woman show. I did a 2-woman show. I was part of theater troupes. And I thought being on stage alone was just maybe too much for me. And I got talked into it.
Yeah.
I got talked into it, and I used all of my training, my improv training, and got to know Gretchen really well. She became my research project. She's
Gretchen
a poet,
is
artist.
an artist, poet friend of ours, and because she said I don't want to do this alone myself,
and didn't think that she could actually perform it.
Right.
Carly was a perfect fit. You were
absolutely.
incredible because you did. I mean, you did study her, but there's something that the two of you had that is almost indefinable because
our art.
You had your art.
Because not only am I an actress, but I'm an artist. About 50-50 split.
Yes.
So
that's right.
And I would say,
I just, I met her. I'm not a poet though. So her poetry was a little odd to me. So I said, I don't understand. But then I thought, well, I have Gretchen here. She can tell me, why try to figure this out when I've got the author?
Exactly.
So,
and whatever she said to you and whatever you did together and spent that time together was brilliant, and it worked because what you finally did, the two of you, and you finally on stage was a masterpiece.
Yeah,
I think.
Absolutely. Well, you both won. You won Best Premiere,
and then Carly
and then
won
you won
Best
Best Actress. Yeah.
Because it was so clearly you understood the words.
Really good. Yeah. And she was the poster girl. What a great year.
It was a good year. It was a good year for many reasons.
It was one of those things that just became, it was organic. It just all fell together in such a gorgeous way.
And then she came we asked her if she would be one of our 60 plus adults with the bridge that we talked about earlier today.
Right.
And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
This is your third year?
This will be my third year.
Okay.
I did 2 years.
That's
the first year we were on Zoom 100%.
Yes.
So that was different. Anyway, and I had this imagination about what it must be like without Zoom.
Yeah.
And then the second year we were half and half.
Right.
All right.
So we did get to meet, but we were masked and it was very quick.
Right.
I miss more interaction. I would love more.
So for people who, we showed a couple videos early on, but for those who don't know what that means about the process, would you tell them a little bit something, even on Zoom, what that was about, how you first met Kenny?
Well, as Blake says, I'm 60 plus, and Kenny was 12, which I was once. So but I was never a boy. I was never an African-American boy, so there was a lot of reaching to do. And
now you have been. You've been a 12-year-old.
And I started listening to his music so that I would, feel his place and time better. And he told me about his video game that he played, and mostly we didn't get a lot of time. So I learned about his family. I wanted to know about him, about his family. And I found out that he was an aspiring actor. Seriously. So I zoned in on that, on all those little details, and wrote something.
And he listened to you too, because he picked up on the fact that you were a young actor in college, and had to go through very different kinds of process getting through college. So that's kind of what he wrote about.
It was fun too, is because we don't give them lots and lots of time where they can sit down and really hone. That's no fun. Right. You get a glimpse of somebody, you get a essence of them, how they move a little bit, and then you get to create. Quite often which is good for the kids because they want to be factual, because they're used to school, they have to write a report. And we go, no, this is theater. You don't have a particular piece. You're just going to have to make that up. That's the fun of it. And so he really had a great time.
That's really good.
It was delightful.
As facilitators, Andy and I are in the room once a week and get to help and coach them a bit. And one of the beautiful things about Kenny, I guess I can say this, is that he had you, Carly, at the time when you were in college in the 70s, carrying around a laptop. And I just said, you can do this if you want to, but just so you understand, she would have been typing on a typewriter. So he had her carrying a typewriter around with her.
In the backpack.
Yes.
In the backpack.
Why not?
Here's the funny thing is I couldn't afford a typewriter. I was, pen and pencil, pencil, pen.
But no, but that was brilliant. That was
because he actually brought it out, I think, at one point.
It's just something. Like, why not? Why not? It was brilliant. He figured out how he could translate. Well, a computer would be a typewriter, so why didn't she just carry it wherever she goes? I love that. Yeah.
And you got to know him really well. And that was, tell us about, we may never go through this again, except that we learned a lot of things about filming any of these pieces.
Mm-hmm.
For one thing, we have them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a particular thing, and I think your telling of Kenny was exceptional to me because you were him. You chose to really absorb him and be him in front of a screen, just from here up, and just right there, almost as if he is on Zoom. And it's wonderful that you can get so much just out of this.
And who did you have? Who did you have this past year?
I had Kaylee.
Okay. Right.
You,
I'm getting the name wrong. Bad name. Kayla. Thank you.
Right. Right. And so you had to be a completely different person when you really nailed that. That was a beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
beautiful piece.
she had a story, and she was telling me her story, and I wanted to honor the story, so I retold it.
Yes, and it was a very different mood from many, also especially from Kenny the year before, and to me it was profound because you were not shirking, and this is the beautiful thing that we all like to tell the truth in these classrooms, and there's some things that we are told by the students that seem like they may not be for public, and they have the choice of saying no, this is not, or yes, absolutely,
you can tell the
that.
story. Yeah.
And that was true about your story, and but what it became was profound. It's why this can be so deep and beautiful, because I don't think she wasn't able to express this herself, and you gave a whole sense of her inner being, so it's gorgeous.
So I'm going to go back to the high school kids again, and I hope you get a chance to play with them sometime, because I think you would have the juniors. I'm going to pull up a little bit of one of their talk backs, because I just want you to also get a sense of let me get rid of this, Sunny D. Smith, who is their facilitator, and she is
and this is a talk back after one of our virtual versions that we had to do at the same time, and this was a moderated talk back,
only a couple years ago, but yeah, exceptional work, really great job. I would like to start with Sunny before we get started into these performances, and I meant to ask this originally. I didn't get a chance to. Knowing your position in the school, what was the full what element did you play in these particular pieces? Like how did that work out in this setting?
Sure. That's an interesting question, because I think I play a variety of roles depending on the student. But for all of the students, I mean, obviously I essentially serve as the warden to make sure that these guys are staying on track, but also the conduit between Annie and Blake and the students, and making sure that communication is flowing. I might read their pieces ahead of time. They might come talk to me about specific things. I do know a couple of the pieces because I was there to help directorially and to help with filming and prop needs, anything you might need. In the past, it's been anything from I might have to help find a location or help with costume. It could be just about anything. So I guess my role is kind of like if I had to say it, it's like fairy godmother. I'll help you make it happen. I'll help you make it happen.
That's wonderful. Someone make her a shirt. That's great. Yeah, in some of our past shows, when we were dealing specifically with older population who've maybe done solo pieces in the past and are part of the festival, it's a very unique experience talking to the director and the performer and anyone who's contributed to the piece, because it's a very unique experience we're finding. And so I was very interested to get a take on what your part was in all of this, because other than being a teacher and facilitating that way in the school setting, I'm sure it's a very different experience when you are dealing with pieces that are coming from your actors. It's their brainchild that they're putting on stage or on film.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is, the way that the program is structured, the students generally don't work on their own as much. They're working in groups, and most everything are group projects, or they're shows where it's not just one person. There's obviously multiple people. So to give them the chance to experience a process where they have to look so deeply within themselves and rely on themselves, even though we all know that the solo play process is a collaborative effort. Obviously, we're all here tonight, but you have to look so far in and so truthfully into yourself. I think that was a great awakening for these guys, and I'm proud that they were willing to just ride that process out and see where it would go.
Right, and also I just want to chime in on that. A lot of them, and I would probably let them talk about it, found another person in the class to help direct the piece and or help flush it out. Right.
Yeah. And maybe even just be an eye, just be some other person, to.
Plus, we also had seniors that came in to mentor in any possible way they could, or even help with some of the filming too. So it's solo theater, but it's in this situation it's very collaborative and it's lovely.
And this anybody?
We are 2022.
You're all juniors here. Okay, fantastic. Out of curiosity, and if you don't have an answer to this, that's perfectly fine. But does everyone here? Is everyone here looking to continue this as their career, or is anyone here knowing already that this is something they're exploring now and not something they want to continue? Go ahead.
So my plan is, through theater, I have found other things such as costuming or doing makeup for shows like this. And that's really what I want to do for my career. And I've just found through theater, because I also enjoy writing a lot, I found through theater that writing is the perfect outlet for me to kind of write out my inner monologue that's constantly going on. And it's just a good outlet for me to put in the energy that I get from myself and the ideas that I get in my brain, while it's still not necessarily the career that I want to pursue. So it's kind of like my creative outlet.
Got you. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
I also am not pursuing theater. I think that through theater, because I've done this since about 5th grade. So through theater, I've definitely learned so much about myself. And I feel like when I look at my peers around me, not necessarily the theater group, but my peers at just school in general, I feel like I kind of know more, or I've explored more about myself because of theater. And so through this, I've kind of learned how I want to proceed in life. I believe I want to be a clinical psychologist when I grow up.
Fascinating.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting to see how I came to that conclusion. Because for years I was I'm gonna be in theater, but it's always cool to know that I don't hear this a lot, but theater's my backup plan.
I love it.
Usually it's the other way around, right? And so it's really awesome to think about through theater, I found this other thing that I'm really passionate about, and that I can still go back and do another thing that I love, even if the clinical psychologist doesn't work out.
I'm gonna stop that right there because they're fantastic. They really, truly, truly are. Talk a little bit. Do I have more donations that came in?
You do.
Okay.
This is fabulous. We have something from Rita Mazer.
Yay!
Thank you, Rita. Carol and Michael, thank you once again. She's been so supportive of us. Gave us $100. That's wonderful. David Wright, thank you, David. This is good.
Yay!
And a few others that we've not talked about. Sarah Glendenning.
Oh, yay!
Sarah. We talked to you about Rachel Siegel.
Phyllis Gerber joins us with
Yep. So this is great. Carol Goff. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
Norm Sloan.
Norm. Okay, thank you, Norm. Yay!
Andrea Breedeman.
Oh, excellent.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Great. So
Well, I'm going to show another video. This is from Katie Cairo. She was the second year that we did it. And she wrote a beautiful piece that we asked if she would then complete it to be a full piece to be a part of our festival in one of the falls. And of course it was during COVID, so it had to be filmed. And this is Katie talking about her experience.
Starting with high school.
Yeah, and Katie has gone on to college now. She comes back to the classroom and talks about how this experience is her calling card getting into college. But this is Katie. She does call us the Flying Solo because when we first started, we called the program Flying Solo. It's really Solar Synergy. So we're going to have Katie talk.
Hi, my name is Katie Cairo, and I am a junior at Booker High School, and I had the privilege of working with Ann Morrison and Blake Walton in the Flying Solo division of SaraSolo. Now, what is Flying Solo? It is a program that helps students write and create their own solo theater. The goal is to create only a snippet of a larger piece that will one day become a full solo play. And what the process looks like is with my class, we got to pick either being a director, a writer, or a performer, or a combination of the three. And we worked with our directors to write our pieces and eventually perform them. Now, Anne always says that even though it's called solo theater, it truly is a group project. And that is entirely true because even though you're writing independently, you still need input from your class, and it really just brings you closer with the people around you, being in that vulnerable of a state to share your work. Now, what I learned from this entire process is how to accept my work, because when you're writing all of these different drafts and you're coming out with all of these ideas with your director and your class as a whole, you have to learn how to take constructive criticism and be open to new ideas as well as your own. And the thing with me was I couldn't learn to like my work, and so I was going through all of these different drafts, but finally when I got down to my final idea and what eventually became my performance, I had to sit back and say, you know what? This is my work, and I love it, and I love myself. And I think that this entire process was just so therapeutic for all of us. I love you. The way you stand. The way your eyes light up when you laugh. How you use excessive hand gestures when you talk. I love the little things. How you grab your chin when you think. I love how you hate when I look at you for too long. I love how you get annoyed when I make you listen to my music, even though I hate it when you do that. I love that I hate you. I love that you practice your smile in the mirror. I love that your hair sticks straight up. I love that you're sometimes so oblivious to my feelings. I love that when you sleep, your mouth hangs open slightly. I love that look on your face when you're caught without your mask on. I love that you try your best. I love that you hate me. I love you. I wrote that for a very special person when we were still dating. We are not dating any longer. How awkward.
Delete. 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 Oh. God. He's just too beautiful in this one. I love you. The way you laugh. How you use excessive hand gestures when you talk. I love the little things. How you grab your chin when you think. How you get annoyed at me when I look at you for too long. How you hate it when I make you listen to my music, even though I hate it when you do that. I love that I hate you. I love that you practice your smile in the mirror. I love that your hair sticks straight up. I love that your mouth hangs open when you sleep. I love that you're sometimes so oblivious to my feelings. I love that you try your best. I love that I love you. I love that I hate you. I love you. God, I wish I could just drive over to his house, barge through the door, and recite all of that to him. But I can't. Because we're no longer together. We dated for a grand total of 7 months. In teenager years, that's a decade of marriage and 3 children. I realize that the description of this play is wrong. This isn't the story of a teenage breakup. This is the liberation of one fucking strong, chubby little half-Jew. I am Katie Cairo. I am a grandfather clock that cannot wait to chime. I feel as if I've sat still for too long. I like screaming to music in my truck with Marcus. I feel things way too deeply. I love knowing that I can change the world. I wonder if time is speeding up or slowing down. I hope to never settle. I am Katie Cairo.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah.
Oh,
so proud of her.
Katie is at UCLA now,
Mhm.
in the film school, and it's kind of remarkable. And I'm going to talk for her for a second.
All right.
Because she created this piece, I think, and because she did our program, and I will brag about us for a second too. She faced her first freshman semester by finding everything she could do in the school, because the freshmen weren't allowed to be part of certain of the productions early on, which is typical. But she found a comedy group. She found another playwriting group. She found other like-minded folk, and one other group that was outside of the school, because she wanted to keep advancing in every way she could. She talked about looking around at her other classmates and her roommates even, and saying, they just want to party. They really don't know what to be now because they're all 18 and away from home.
Exactly. Right.
She's thriving.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very delighted because we have a new guest to join us. And I'm going to just add her to our stream.
There we go.
Hey, how are ya?
Good. How are you?
Yay.
Hi.
Karen Orenstein has been a great friend, a great supporter of SaraSolo, and has been a part of SaraSolo for several years now.
Yeah.
When was your first year? Was it in 2018, 17?
2017. That's the first time we did SaraSolo. Oh my God, I look like you can't see my eyes. Do I look like my eyes are closed?
You look very, very chic.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
You look like you're about ready to do an opera, and I love it, darling.
No, darling.
No, not quite. Well, we first presented SaraSolo to you. I mean, our Golda musical to you in 2017, and we're thrilled to do it then.
That was Golden Roads, wasn't it?
That was called Golden Roads at the time. And we sold out. We opened your festival that year. So thrilled.
Sure did.
And we're really delighted to do it. And as you know, all pieces that are original undergo a lot of changes. So in the last year, we rewrote a lot of that Golda musical, retitled it Rhapsody for Golda, and presented it this year at your most recent festival with Blake directing and with Annie looking over our shoulders as we rehearsed in your living room. and had I'm just thrilled. I'm so thrilled with how it's happening. And we're moving on. So see your development of solo work and your encouragement of artists has meant just the world to David and me, and giving us a platform to move forward with our work.
Right. We have been looking at, as you can see over here, we have Carly Murdoch, who's also an alum, and decided to just pop in because she was in the neighborhood. I'm also going to bring in Angela Bond to join with us. Yay. Hi, honey. Who now is a true alum because she just finished our last SaraSolo festival with her piece, and we're going to get a chance to talk with the two of you, Carly and Angela, in a little while about the solo. In a sense, actually, Sharon, you're a part of the solo as well.
You really are, because of our involvement and mine specifically with you.
Yeah.
You were just at a different place when we started with it, because you were a finished piece that was being evolved.
Right. The next step of
it. With unfortunately, we lost Carlo, who was your great. He had great dedication to the play. He was your director, and he was your consultant with the music.
Mentor. Just such a great influence. Right. So knowledgeable. I just felt so blessed to work with him.
Right.
Yeah.
But we have this thing called the solo, which is, again, it came out of the idea that Blake and I really would love to have a retreat down here for solo artists to come down and do their work in a place together. As we've said before, it's a lonely, as you all know, all three of you know, and Blake and I do too. It can be very lonely to create a piece on your own. If you decide to do it that way. If you're smart, you have someone to be an eye for you and a sounding board to bounce off of, because that eyes can help you. Your relationship in a solo theater piece is your relationship with the audience. They become like your scene partner. So, yeah.
The solo is meant to be to accommodate adults and professional solo artists. Maybe from seed to the stage. I mean, from that very, very first part.
And we have three professionals here, which is quite fun to have that experience.
And this is an ongoing workshop.
Right.
From time to time. We started with one last July.
Which we had Angela, who was a part of that one, and Carly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, Angela, from your perspective, what was that?
It was a kick in the butt.
Yay!
As many of us creative types who are used to being handed scripts and working with other people who have created the work, and we're just interpreting them. But we always in the back of our head go, well, I could do that. I could write this, and oh, I have this great idea. And throughout your life, you're going, I just need to get motivated to write my idea down. Well, Annie and Blake inspire you to kick yourself in the butt and write and just start. And I think that is the most valuable thing that they did for me, is to inspire me to actually just do it.
Right.
And it was an amazing experience.
Right. And it was fun because there were 6 of you. One of them actually was online because she couldn't get down here because of COVID in New York. So we had 5 in live space and then one on Zoom. Why not? And so what I think, you got a chance to hear each other's pieces from the beginning and then be able to share experiences about it. It's all positive. There's not people going, oh God, when I would have written it this way. There's none of that. So you really feel like we have a companionship.
No, and I think part of that is because each of the 6 of us had completely different ideas and completely different talents and backgrounds and experiences. So there was no sense of competition whatsoever.
No. Yeah. And Buzz wanted to do his as a cabaret act. So he had ideas for songs, but then hearing him, you go, oh, wait a minute. I think I got a song that will help you. I mean, that's valuable. That's valuable. Or just hearing your different, tell us a little bit about your piece that you're working on.
Well, my piece is my story. I was saying earlier that I'm an actress and an artist, and in about 50-50 split. And I just recently started organizing my archives, wondering how I did all this stuff. And I have bopped around from doing shows to doing art to doing shows to doing art, and nobody knows about it but me. So I want to share that somehow. And right now it's still too big. It's still this giant thing that I'm trying to bring into a format so I can share it.
Right.
And that's my goal with it. All of my writing has just gone off into one direction or another. So I'm still struggling,
I've put together a video, which I will not play because it's almost an hour long, of the 6 of them after writing their first draft, so we could get up in front of each other and hear it. And it's quite fascinating. I will put that up on our YouTube channel if anyone out there is listening and wants to have a masterclass in how the beginnings of. In fact, I think we'll just eventually have a masterclass on video. But that's true. And tell us a little bit about your piece, Angela, and then I want to hear Sharon's piece.
Well, my piece, of course, was based on writings that my great-grandfather did. And I wanted to, and as Carly said, it just seemed such a gargantuan project. I had no idea where to start. And the wonderful thing about the solo is that Annie and Blake give you writing exercises to just kind of get you started writing. And I actually went off on a whole different direction than I ended up finishing with. And yet that was necessary to do. I needed to go to that different direction before I decided, oh, wait, no, let's go there. But thank God I had the solo and people like Carly and Buzz and the other people in the group who would give me inspiration and give me ideas and I liked this part, but I didn't really understand that part. So that I was able to mold it with other third and fourth and fifth and sixth eyes on it, instead of working on it for 6 months and then doing it for somebody and they go,
Wow. Yeah.
No, we always talk about the loneliness.
Yeah.
Loneliness of creating something. Sharon, you have David with you.
Yeah.
So there are 2 people. David wrote the music for Rhapsody for Golda.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit of Rhapsody of Golda. Right. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that we all have experienced the loneliness, because there's some point when you're alone in your room, alone at your desk, alone wherever you're writing, or finally putting it together, and there is no other I, or there is no other something to say. And that's I think one of the invaluable things about the solo. and we recognize that the group thing is really important. And I just want to say something about the process, because we all gathered, or most of us gathered, then a second time, and that's also when we heard some progress from all of you, and that's also, Angela, when you decided I'm ready. Here we go.
Hey, you want to do it at a festival? Okay.
So
another kick in the butt.
So as we're developing this, I'm seeing a good timeline, and also a good part of the process, and the individual facilitating that happens after that point is based on the individual, whoever that person is. And Sharon, because we got to
oh my goodness.
Are you getting a donation? I hope so.
I hope so.
You want to answer it?
Sure.
Because we got to recreate or evolve Rhapsody for Golda. There was a benefit for all of us, including me, because I had all of the solo coming from before that, and reminding all of us of what we need to hear and what we need to see in terms of the progression of a piece. So yes, I had the privilege of working with you and David at this point, stepping into Carlos' shoes, but also separately, because what we were now dealing with is quite a different piece at that point.
Yeah.
And you did some revisions based on a reading that you did for us in your living room.
Yeah.
And I had some things to say about it. And later on, after everything, you finally asked, will you just direct this then?
Yes.
Which brings it into something. So tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, when I went back to writing at this time, I knew I needed to make some things clearer. And you were very instrumental in making sure it stayed focused on Golda and her journey, and not get diverted to, because it's about Golda Meir and her journey from poverty to becoming Prime Minister of Israel, not getting diverted to the Israel story and staying just with the Golda story. So that was very helpful, and also making sure it was lean. Cut.
Yeah.
Oh my God, all the cutting. That was wonderful. And I love the one suggestion you made, that it was almost a year ago in July that we just did a reading for you, kind of, come over, see what you think, see where it's going. Love your input. And you said you wanted to hear more of the words musicalized.
Right.
So
we're talking about recitative.
Yeah. And so especially within each of the songs, instead of doing a lot of speaking over underscore, we went ahead and put lyrics to it, and that substantially, when you write lyrics, every word counts like 10 to 1 to real words, and so everything got cut like 10 to 1. Is all the stuff that I was saying, forget it, So
and to be fair to you as a playwright, you originally wrote this and didn't. You were thinking, weren't you? It was a multicast, multi-character, maybe mini opera, mini musical, with maybe 5 characters, and then at one point it was 3, and then another time
it was 6, and it's 16. I mean, I had all kinds of characters, and I never intended to play Golda. So that was always the big surprise. It's like, okay, I guess to get it on the stage, I better play this part.
You did play her when you had about 5 people, several different people playing different roles beyond her, and so you had a chance to see what that was. But the intention, and when you first came to SaraSolo, even that's when we said, could it be a solo musical, do you think? And you said, well, let's see. And that was an experiment. And it was shelved a little after that. So our goal in working with it this time was to, and I told you, when I saw that reading, I saw the play. And I saw it being a solo play, that one person could become everything that has to be there. But we also, what you say about taking out the Israeli stuff, the stuff that we know about her is fine. It's fine. It's historic, but it's not the heart of her. It's not what we don't know about her. And
the woman's journey, the woman's journey was hard. Exactly. And the ups and downs of her life, and the pulls and the tugs of having a family and having a career, which of course so many people can identify with. That was the goal, to just show how she dealt with it and made it work.
Sneak in feminism from the beginning. A young girl who is defying her father or her parents. And I love that aspect because of how you kept her also. One of the major things you did with her is keep her feminine. And I mean that in a very general sense. I just mean that if we look at how to approach war, for instance, there might be two different sides of that in a very, very generalized way. But you kept me reminding me she is strong in her groundedness. She's not strong in her forcefulness. She's strong in the force of her groundedness. That was a beautiful thing to know, and for you to remind, and that's what you finally did. I mean, this is what's so remarkable about this piece. It may have some legs after this. We're hoping for some other performances of it.
Yeah, we've got a possibility coming up. I don't know.
We do. We can't talk about it yet.
Yes.
Until after today.
Yes.
I also want to say that there are people, Carly and other people from the solo got to see both Sharon and Angela's pieces in the festival. And it was a thrill to watch her go, oh, I can't wait to get back to my piece. I am so jazzed now, because you got a chance to show them that they can actually make it to a point where they were in front of an audience.
And didn't you feel that way? I did too. I mean, I thought, how do they do this? And at the same time, I'm thinking, what is my next piece? And I can't wait to make that happen, because of the gloriousness of I think that's a word, the gloriousness of both of your pieces.
The gloriosity.
The gloriosity.
That's good. That's good. Can I ask Angela a question?
Yes, please. This should be a conversation with everybody.
Yeah, I wanted to know what compelled you about your grandfather's writing to make a whole theatrical piece on it.
There are 10 stories altogether, and as I said in my play, Mother tried very hard to get them published, and nobody else thought they were worth publishing, and yet I thought there was some real funny, dramatic material there, and mostly I wanted to do something with it for my mom, because she wanted it so badly, and I'm sad that she died before she could see the end product, but that was the inspiration. I wanted to do it for my family.
Cool.
Yeah, and I don't know how much further I'm going to take it. My goal never was to tour the city, tour the country with it, but I do think I want to do a benefit performance of it at my mom and dad's old church in Nashville, so that all of their friends can see it, and maybe one other place, just so that I do some good with it.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah.
I just want to pop in and say, this reminds me that the theater is a forum for keeping things alive.
Mhm.
The stories, well,
Stories,
stories were our first history, weren't they? Our first theater was storytelling.
Right.
And we're using that still to honor people.
Right.
Right.
That's good. That's good. Well, it's interesting to I mean, I think the three of us have three very different pieces. Mine's a musical, and Angela, yours is with music, and Carly, is yours with art. Have you got art in the background and projections? I haven't seen it, so.
Well, Carly is doing art.
Yeah.
She's actually creating art on stage while it's going on, because that's the setting for it. Right?
Well, that's what I did with the Gretchen piece.
Yes.
That's what I did with the Gretchen piece. But I was thinking of taking this one into more of a mime art, because doing art is really hard.
It is. Art isn't easy.
Thank you, Mr.
I can't talk while I'm doing art.
Oh, come on, Bob Ross did.
So I think I can mime while doing talking.
Are you going to go like this or go like this? Are you going to expand? Oh, we have someone else I can bring in now.
You know what I love about that too is, hi Valerie.
Hi, Valerie.
Valerie made it. Yay.
Yeah, I made it
Talking
in.
about you.
I made it in. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Valerie, we have Carly Murdoch here with us. We have Sharon Ornstein.
Hi.
Which you see. We have Angela Bond, which you see, and we have Valerie David.
Yeah. Valerie David has been with SaraSolo a couple years now, haven't you?
Yes.
Fabulous piece, and we invite you to come in and talk as an alum. And we also want to hear where your future is going, because you have a new piece as well.
Yes.
Everybody, just so you know, Valerie, if you've seen, Carly and Angela were a part of our summers, the solo, and you came out of the possibility of kind of what that is before we went into the summer program.
You were part of our introduction, actually, to the community.
Yes.
Of what we wanted to do in the future.
Right.
And thank you for that.
Thank you.
We did a very simple thing. We got to hear, because we got to be ears for you and eyes for you for the ending of a piece that you had already begun at some point.
Yes.
Does somebody have it? No,
Yes. Does somebody have a little typewriter going?
Right.
All right.
And yet you did the Pink Hall for us in 2018,
2017.
2017, correct.
Right. So you and Sharon were there at the same time, same year. Yeah. So there you have it. We were talking about the solo, and one last thing, Carly, we were talking about you miming, I think, and something else. Oh, and I was just going to make one little last piece about that, because it's funny when you mime this, I see it, and it also lets us see our own version of your art,
right?
Because you're describing things very distinctly that you are creating, and yet it's there. And so,
yeah. I didn't know you were a mime. Are you really a mime, Carly?
My tradition starts out with story theater and improv, and we did a lot of mime. So I'm not a mime,
but with improv
subjects, and we did performances with no props.
Oh wow, yeah.
And she's worked with Robert Turoff several times, and he's an expert mime.
Yes, and I want to thank.
This I did not know.
I didn't know that either.
He worked with Marcel Marceau.
Really? I didn't know that either.
I knew this because I did Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, and Bob directed it, and he said, this is what I do, and here's how you do mime. And so I got a really crash course, because he was a young student with him when he was in New York as a kid, and has not had a big chance to use it, but certainly it paid off for me. And then I got to translate to things like Me and Jezebel and other things that we got to do a lot of mime. But yeah,
Yeah. And I
He can
want to
certainly tell
thank
you when you're not holding the cup.
and I want to thank Annie and Blake because SaraSolo has been so amazing, and the show because of them has grown so much because I had 3 different endings of the Pink Hulk by last year.
Yes.
So it was only one ending in 2017, and they helped me with presenting it again, and then because of them, it gave me the courage to write a second solo show called Baggage from Baghdad about my father fleeing Iraq in 1941 from religious persecution from a pogrom in Baghdad called the Farhud. And it actually, unfortunately, mirrors the exact things going on in Ukraine.
Oh, God.
It's a very important story about fleeing a country with only what you could carry and trying to start a new life. And I really credit SaraSolo for giving me that courage to even write a second show and to help me with my current show that I'm touring both of them this summer.
Yes.
Well, we need to get Baghdad down here.
Yes.
I know.
So let's make a plan to have that done.
Where are you going? Are you going to Vermont with it?
I'm trying to go to Vermont
Okay.
as well, and I do have bookings for the Pink Hulk in Iceland and Baggage from Baghdad in Sweden and Gothenburg.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
really.
yeah,
Awesome.
We should all let's go to Iceland and Sweden.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We can fly from one to the other. It's very close.
Yes, we could have Swedish meatballs together. So everyone listening, this is such a great program, and you should donate to them because they really are making a difference in so many people's lives, and I can testify to that.
Absolutely.
Yay, I love it. I love it.
And thank you for reminding us, Valerie. We've gotten some incredible donations so far. We're well on our way, and it's really nice to know that.
Is there anyone new that came in?
Well, yeah. We talked about David Wright and Rita Mazer. Let me see. Yes. Oh, good old Karen Bronson.
Yay, Karen! Thank you.
Don Walker. Oh,
Yay,
Annie Williams.
Yay, Annie
Annie.
Williams! We love Annie Williams. Came to every show when we were back doing 16 performers over the weekend. She bought the entire thing, and she would come and sit. So when we were having awards, she was on the panel. She was on one of the judges, and she had so much fun. I think she was so sad when we didn't do that anymore. But so thank you, Annie. Thank you so much.
John Shirley, who is Annie's accompanist for her next show, and they're both going to New York at 54 Below May 17th. He gave us a nice little thing. Joseph Godfrey, who has also supported us throughout from early times. We're going to get Joe down here. Joe is he's a voiceover artist who's done major things. I think with Warner Brothers. And he's worked with the best, and he's always supported us. So that's really great too.
Yay.
Well, Valerie, I want to know a little bit more about how. I think I've seen the Pink Hulk on video, but I wanted to know the genesis of your relationship with Annie and Blake.
Oh yes, I have Heather Massey to thank for that.
Yes.
She introduced me to Annie and Blake in 2017 and said you have to come, and we talked about the show. And just for reference, the Pink Hulk, it's called the Pink Hulk: One Woman's Journey to Find the Superhero Within, about my being a 3-time cancer survivor. But when I did it for SaraSolo, I was a 2-time cancer survivor.
Yes.
2 times. Now it's 3.
Hence a different ending.
Hence a different ending.
The ending
Yes.
has changed 3 times.
Yes, different endings. So I was very fortunate to have that introduction, and that was the genesis of my meeting them. And then I came to Florida. I'm based in Manhattan, and been following them ever since, and seeing Annie at 54 Below and Huck, and
coming back.
Yes, and I'm so happy you're coming back. And how about you? What was your genesis?
I met them both when I was in St. Petersburg working at American Stage, and they were in and out doing various things. And since I live in the area, you're always hearing what Annie and Blake are doing. And when I moved down here to Bradenton, a playwright friend of mine said, "Oh, I want you to do a play. I want you to do a one woman play for the solo project that Annie and Blake do, but I'm having a hard time, them accepting my work. Will you help?" And I go, well, I don't know. It was not a great script. So I contacted Annie and said, "It's not a great script, so we don't want to do it. But we want to work with you, so come on over."
And also that speaks to how because we've always curated the festivals and have never actually taken a script solicitation without a full company, without a creative team.
Right. And I think this particular playwright was thinking that, oh, I'll just give you the play and then you'll find the director and you'll find the actors. And we're not that kind of a theater company. Yeah. You need to come in already produced.
I'm very thankful for that playwright because now we're here.
Yeah.
That was godsend. That was perfect.
Yes. And the thing about Annie and Blake too, Angela, and I'm sure you agree as well, Sharon, is that they're the center of the wheel and we're all these spokes. And so the wonderful thing about is the friendships that you make through them, seeing you again and, lifelong friends from being part of the program. And that has just been also such a wonderful thing.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of festivals, you just don't get to have that experience. You don't get to have that camaraderie. You just kind of come and do your thing and that's it. Where we really feel like you have a family and you're all like our alum, and we've always felt that if we didn't find someone, we'd ask you guys, you could say as an alum, "Hey, I have met an artist on my travels here. You have got to see," and we most definitely have done that before.
Exactly.
I have someone else to add to the stream.
Let's join the party. Hi,
you guys. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
We have another alum. This is Gabrielle Lennon. You're such a beautiful blonde now.
Thank you. It's in preparation to go rainbow, but first I have to get my roots done.
When did we do? When were you at SaraSolo? Was it 17 or 18? It was 17, wasn't it?
It was
Oh,
both.
19.
17, I did Flying Solo, and
That's
19,
right.
I did the whole show.
That's right.
That's
okay.
right.
Yeah.
So that was a great progression.
That was a great
Gabrielle, again, started with what we used to call the Flying Solo, which we don't call it anymore, but it's the Flying Solo. And then progressed, and she got Blake to help direct this piece and got to do a full-length production of it. And then she's moved on with it, which is kind of cool.
And this is wonderful because it's a play that you had written several years before then, even, and it's a play that can progress because I think that it speaks to you in different parts of your life, probably. But it's a very specific story. And what you've done is now transformed it once again after that point, after learning something from that, got a different director and you transformed the script and got a chance to really do it. But it was during COVID. So it was a lot of virtual. We got to see that too. So, but the great thing about that is it got to be shown anywhere, and so people weren't limited to just Sarasota for that reason. And so you talk. It's so good to see you, by the way.
Thank you. It's so good to see all of you guys. And my dog really wants to get up on the bed and she's crying.
Oh,
I just have 1 second and then I'll talk because or else you're going to get her crying. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's great.
We love 1 second.
We've got a cat and
who's been clawing my leg periodically, wanting attention. I finally said, just go to bed.
Right.
Go to bed.
Yep, that's it. It's the attention. Okay, she's talking now. So yeah. did. I rewrote it. Well, the pandemic, when it hit, I was supposed to be doing it live. I was going to tour Florida with it live, and then everything got shut down, And so I was like, uh-oh, what should I do? And so I ended up rewriting it. It's still a solo show, but now all the characters come in. I mean, It's a completely different show.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's great.
It just keeps evolving. Strange, and it's still playing on Zoom. And but it was a great experience. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
It's okay. We can clean all that.
Stop. My daughter. My daughter. And this is what we get. Oh my God.
What you're saying really speaks to something that we've all experienced, especially with the transformation of something. Once you have it in front of an audience the first time, there is something about it, but we all learn that the audience is the other character, and this is true with a lot of kinds of playwriting, but particularly with solo, because we lost Valerie. Okay,
she'll back.
She'll be back.
Yeah.
But because of what you as a solo actor understand, and especially a solo playwright understand about what happens with the audience, and it tells you a lot. And so I'm just impressed
I also love that your piece, because it's your personal piece, can keep evolving.
Yeah.
That's what's lovely. As I get older and I do like Linda Lovely Goes to Broadway, not that I've rewritten it because I like the writing of it, but my understanding of it changes. And perspective of it changes as I age. I go, oh, that's what that line meant, and I wrote it. So
when I did Leading Men again, after 8 years, I think it was, it was quite different in feel. We had Katie Cairo on earlier, and she came from our high school program, and then was part of the festival. And she talked even then about how she thinks it's going to speak to her for another 10 years. And may evolve during that time, because it's about love, but very generally, she wants to see how she views it at age 30, maybe, and see what happens there. So that was always intriguing.
Cool.
Gabrielle, you can speak to just as Valerie can. You can speak to the selling of a piece. It was during pandemic, which, again, offers you at least a filmed version of it that's easier to get out there. But what is that like? I mean, what kinds of things have you had to be up against?
Okay, well, we made our living room into a navy blue box theater.
Why not?
Like hung curtain rods, and he went to Joanne Fabrics and got, he made curtains, and he was the cameraman. So it was just really COVID safe. And it was just in our living room, which is tiny. And we were up against, actually, it was very interesting. We were up against a lot because there was a time crunch because I had a grant, and when I had and so it's like I was ready to go. I had my first live performance when everything shut down, so it was quite into the grant. And so and then when my new director, who I never met in person, she lives in New York, so we did this all via Zoom, the director. And she said, why don't you try rewriting it so that all the characters come in and it's like a 3-person show, but you're doing everybody. And so I rewrote the whole thing, and then I had to rememorize the whole thing. And, we added half an hour to the show when I rewrote it. It was a really significant change. Like everything was changed. And then I had to do a lot more work on the acting of it because, bringing in more people, more characters. And then when we were filming, so we decided we're going to film everything. We're going to make do it like a bunch of times. So it will be like, the whole thing with right shot, the whole thing with left shot, the whole thing with close up, the whole thing with far away, blah, blah, blah. Like it done a bunch of different camera shots. And then we discovered like halfway in that it really better when I was talking directly to the camera, when Carrie is talking to the audience instead of just to the side of the camera. So half the show had already been filmed doing it to the side. So we're like, okay, the last night we're just going to do a full run through, and we're going to, and whenever Carrie talks, she's going to talk directly to the camera. And so the last night, well, there was this tropical storm around New York. And for 2 nights that were supposed to be our last night filming, and we're on a time schedule, my director, all her electricity was out.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
So finally, we had to do the last night of filming. So she went into her car, and she ran her car, and she directed it via Zoom on her cell phone. And she ran out of gas, but not till the end. Like, thank goodness,
Wow.
And then the other thing that happened that night that was also a challenge to get through was about half an hour before filming, my mother called and she left a note on the machine, and she didn't say much, but I could tell someone had died. And,
oh dear.
And so I had to call her back. I mean, and so like 15 minutes before we started filming, I found out that my aunt had died completely unexpectedly.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And the first half of the show is the happy part of the show.
Yeah.
And that was the part we really had to get well, because that was the part we didn't have what we needed, the direct thing to the camera. So I just, I'm an actress and I have my acting tools and I can do it, and I did it, and I did my work, even though, in that circumstance. And then the crazy thing was, we decided to use for the show that we run on Zoom, we decided to use that the whole last night, because it was much more what people were missing, because it was like pretty much like a far shot the whole time with no close-ups. So you could see the whole set. So it was much more someone's experience of the theater, of seeing everything, versus a more cinematic thing of close-ups and far shots and all, which people can go to the movies and see. So we decided, okay, we're gonna do this. And so we used that night's run for what I show on Zoom. And we had a live talk back afterwards too, all the time on Zoom. So, but those are some of the interesting obstacles that we dealt with.
So because of the rarefied nature of solo, it's not an easy thing to sell. I mean, we know already that the theater companies in town are not always open to share and to help with that. So you have to, and Valerie, again, we're talking about selling your piece out there. I mean, you work in PR, so there's a little help with your inner nature anyway. But it's the idea of getting yourself out there. Gabrielle, this is an incredible story, because it shows ingenuity, and it shows what we have to do to get it done.
Right.
But then there's the point of, where do you do it?
Exactly. And I think that this summer, I want to spend some time seriously cultivating places that are interested in maybe having a solo artist maybe come in and do a few performances around a season somewhere. And it becomes like, all right, we've just finished something in Sarasota. We can present a couple nights here in Sarasota somewhere, but maybe, oh, great, now we have a connection with someone in North Port Charlotte, which is a possibility. So now you can go down there and do your show. Oh, we can go across the state. We can go, oh, let's go up to St. Pete, because a lot of people will not go across that bridge.
No kidding.
An audience.
I know.
It's just so goofy. And then be able to develop, well, now we're developing a relationship with a theater up in Vermont. Wouldn't that be lovely then to say, hey, I've got this new artist. Would they be part of, we can have this branching out, and a possibility of maybe a theater in both Chicago and Los Angeles. If we could have like a series of, you could have someone finish and they can do, that would be great, because it's one thing to develop your solo play. You can do a festival, which we all eventually, that's where you have to get started, is a festival. And that's what festivals are good for, because you don't know what's going to happen. You're trying it out in front of an audience. Why not a festival audience? And then you can go from festival to festival, but it comes to a point where you want to go beyond the festival. Valerie, you know what I'm talking about, very seriously. How do you go beyond the festival and find other places to do that? And that would be great if we could create some sort of a network. So all of us guys, let's brainstorm.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That reality.
That would be amazing. Yes.
With our Gabrielle, you were part of this, but we were talking about the Solo, our new development workshop that must have at the end of it that possibility,
right?
Because it is about getting something to performance. So that means a venue. That means on there. If we don't have a specific venue here in Sarasota, we also need to consider these networks and consider other ways and places to do it.
Because people have been asking me, well, what are you going to do next? Where are you going to do it next? And I go, well, I don't know. I have no idea where to start.
Well, I've got some ideas. We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah, we do. But that is part of it. But that's also why we're more interested in that part of it. That's why we stopped doing the festivals, because the gathering together and getting on stage is great, and that's a wonderful thing to do, and it was very important for us for 8 years. But finally, development and then getting people out there and progressing out to the next step is much more valuable and much more interesting to us now.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
And that's part of it.
And that's what this whole Giving Challenge is about, is finding the donations and support so that we can continue to expand these education, because the Solo is an educational program. I mean, we're coming together to learn, but now we're professionals. We all here are a group of professionals, but we're still coming together to learn so that we can take into the next step. So I'm just so, I love you all so much. I just love my people. You're like my family. I go to bed at night going, I have the best people in my life, because they can express themselves beyond the beyond. It's so brave to do this, which is why our calling in SaraSolo, or not our calling, our banner is, brave, unique, brave, and uplifting, because that's what you have to be in order to really do this.
Yeah. And also, I saw some of your high school and middle school production, and it's so valuable to have that solo perspective being taught at that age.
Exactly.
As you both have told stories, and it gives so much confidence, self-confidence and self-awareness to kids in that very difficult age range.
Yeah.
Well, and this is another thing, glad you brought this up, because we were talking about this before. One of the things that's missing in education right now, especially in this country, is critical thinking. And it feels like when we come together doing the solo theater development, they have to engage critical thinking in all the levels of it. And if anything else, they don't get it in the other classrooms. They definitely get it in that hour that we have them in the classroom. And that's something that's important.
What can we call that? Let's give it a different name, like Fred or something.
Let's call it Fred.
So that we're not attacked for critical thinking.
Right. We are. Yeah. We just like
here in Florida.
Yes,
a
that's what I'm
classroom.
thinking.
Also, when you teach Fred in the classroom,
We've got
when you teach Fred,
all classrooms in Florida.
when you teach Fred via
They won't-
via writing a solo show in the classroom, like you
they
guys
won't
are
catch up
doing,
for a while.
you know, and also it's invaluable because it's teaching the kids or the students, depending on their ages, you know, kids, teenagers, tweens,
Right.
it's teaching them how to love writing. And so often in school, they learn to hate writing. And when they are creating a solo show that is from their heart about their lives, they will start loving writing. That is invaluable.
Thank you for saying that.
Thank you. And you know,
because
that has been the response.
it has
from
been,
the
and
kids.
we've had kids who literally started by saying, "Ugh, I don't write. I can't write." And they often are the people who really jump out and do that. And unfortunately, a lot of that statement means in a traditional way. And or I don't like writing because it means I have to write essays. I have to write.
My grammar has to be correct. My spelling has to be correct.
And we find different ways for kids to actually complete a piece of writing.
Yeah.
And it
I'll encourage people, you know, you may be dyslexic and hate to write, you know, put it down on a tape recorder and find a way, you know, to do it. It's Spalding Gray was a dyslexic, brilliant solo artist, and he would quite often walk around the house and record what he wanted to say, and then maybe get it down on note cards so that he could sit. I mean, he was a monologist who would sit and entertain you, basically sitting at a table with just a few things that he would have to do. And then he would try it in front of an audience, and then he would make notes. That didn't work, and he'd walk around the house with his tape recorder, and he'd listen again, and then he'd figure it out, and he'd write note cards and do it. So there are all different ways of doing it.
And besides getting kids to really appreciate writing, back to critical thinking, the thing that we absolutely discovered this year and could make a statement about is that what every junior put in, they got out as much as they put in, if not more. But if they put in the work, they got something remarkable out of it. Those who did not, did not. And there were a couple
That's
who,
life.
That's life.
in his life, and they go on after that. And I remember not. I was a freshman, and I actually went to a community college first. I was a freshman, and I remember at that point, at 19, I think I was, saying, "Oh, this is learning. Oh, I get it." I think it was because I was learning critical thinking, and also because I was responsible for everything I did at that point.
Right.
But it was so black and white this year between those who, and along the scale, those who put in this much work got that. And those who did that.
We had a kid who wanted to do it through cabaret form.
Yes.
And really got it that his patter was his spoken word that was as important as just like a musical. It couldn't be the exact same thing that the song was. And he really put a lot of work into it. He didn't have a student to bounce off of. So he said, "May I have permission to bounce it off you?" He came to our house because he wanted to be mentored
of the fact that we
more.
are here. We've opened it up to any of this.
And I couldn't help it. I went, "Bravo!" when he was done with his thing, because it was so realized, the 10 minutes that he had to do of a much larger piece. It was so mature and so realized and so flawed. You know what I mean? I mean, flawed in the sense that he allowed himself to be vulnerable. He allowed a crack to happen and let it be a part of the emotional. It was just brilliant.
And the next role he did showed that.
Yeah. And the teacher said so. She said he got something really big.
He played Bottom in Midsummer Night's Dream, and and it was full of everything he discovered
through himself,
and
who he was.
Will never be the same.
Yeah.
I think he's going to. We are now opening up SaraSolo this summer to some of those high school students who dealt with us already. in a 2-week workshop. And he's expressed an interest, as has 3 or 4 others. So we hope that they're going to take that next step.
So people, out there, we are going to do about a 2-week intensive, and they'll probably be in the evening because people do have to work, but they'll be evening. And so I'd like to get all of us. Of course, Angela says, I'm done now. I don't need to come back again. But she's welcome to come again because I have a trilogy to write.
Graduated.
Yes. To see you take your next step, what you need. And
Patty and
Patty, a bunch of people who are still got so jazzed by watching Sharon and Angela's piece. They want to take that next step, along with people who now are like the same place that you guys were with, I need my butt kicked, but mixing some of the high school students who really take this extremely serious because they know it's something, they think this is what I want to do with my life, or this needs to be a larger part of my dialogue.
The beautiful thing about the high school kids too is, and we've said this in print many times, is that those seniors now are using their solo pieces as part of their application to universities.
Yeah, good. Makes sense.
Outright, I mean, half of them have used that, and even if a majority of these kids are not going into theater,
and they still use it,
but
they still use a wild card.
They're going to be better students in all kinds of ways, and they'll be better people in the world because of it. I mean, this is what's so beautiful about what happens in that classroom. We simply bring it to them, and we simply facilitate it, and we simply
give them a safe space to explore.
Safe space to be themselves and not judged for what comes out of their mouth.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I think another really valuable thing that you guys are doing in bringing it to the classroom is, a couple things actually. One, okay, so as part of my grant, I have to bring things into the classroom. And so I'm doing this like heartfelt writing workshop.
Yes.
And one of the things, part of it is I read just 3 minutes of some of my heartfelt writing. And then, I teach them exercises, etc. And
excuse me, Gabrielle, tell us all where you're going because you're going into different classrooms in Sarasota County.
Yeah. I'm going to different, via Zoom actually, because of the pandemic. So yeah, but yeah, I'm going to.
By the way, we have 4 minutes left.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
I know, because our cat just mewed, and he always.
Oh my gosh!
4 minutes.
Well, I will be really quick then. One of the things I think you guys are doing that's so valuable, like this child, this student, he emailed me that because of the workshop, he felt. He always thought that he was all alone in stuff he was experiencing, and now he knows that he's not. And what you're doing, it's the same thing. These students are exposing their hearts, and the more deeply personal, the more deeply universal. So they are learning this in an experiential way. And the other thing that you're teaching them that they're learning in an experiential way which is so important, is a classroom where it's supportive and collaborative and kind, not competitive and all that. And that is where creativity blossoms in that kind of atmosphere, not in the other kind of atmosphere where people are competing, which is totally,
that's the nature of solo. And that's where we started, because we looked around at the other actors at the Solo Festival,
United Solo Festival in New York.
Said, every single person has their own piece. This is not a festival we're in competition.
No, it's a patchwork quilt of art. And that is so divine.
Thank you for saying that. This is a perfect place to end this broadcast.
Yeah.
We're going to be on again for anybody who's listening.
Yeah, if anyone's like, I just tuned in and I might want to hear more about this. We're coming about 9 o'clock tomorrow morning until noon to continue dialogue, listen to more people. You all are welcome to come back in if you have some time. But please continue. We still got till noon tomorrow to donate. If you Carla Michael go, I just thought of somebody I should tell. Tell them. Anything up from 25 to 100 gets matched by the Patterson Foundation, which is extremely helpful. But if you have $5,000 that you just want to give, I won't discourage you from doing that. You can go ahead and give the $5,000.
Yeah, we do.
It won't be matched by the Patterson Foundation, but $5,000 is just fine with me.
And you know what you can do? If a couple wants to donate, say like $200, if one of them donates 100 and one of them donates the other 100 under each of their different names, then it can be matched doubly.
Exactly.
There you go.
Those are called
There you
unique,
go.
unique donations with different credit cards and different names, and they recognize it.
There you go.
Great. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all.
Good luck. We love you.
We love you too. Now I'm going to start crying
yes.
because I do this all the time. But thank you for coming on, and we will continue our conversations offline because we have worlds to create and we have venues to conquer and people to enlighten. So thank you for all of this.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Gabrielle.
And thank you everybody for watching. And continue to donate, continue to support, and please come and see solo theater. It will, and if you have a solo play in you, this is what we want to come see.
There you go.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.